Hi Flutter community, I am your instructor Imran and we are going to talk about the Riverpod state management. So it is also a framework which says that a reactive caching and data binding framework. Let's start how we can implement the Riverpod in the Flutter. Click on the get started. We are using the officially docs. This is riverpod.dev/docs. So here we have to install the Flutter Riverpod package. For now, we will see the hooks Riverpod and Riverpod in the future. So how to install the Flutter Riverpod? This is your Flutter application and we have to use the Flutter Riverpod. So just press the Command Shift P or Control Shift P on the Windows and here just write the add dependency. We need to use Flutter Riverpod. When it will be installed, you will see on the pubspec.yaml, it will see here. We will remove all the comments from here by using the Control Shift P or the Command Shift P and right here, remove all comments. So all the comments will be removed. Perfect. Now let's go to the main .dart file and remove all the comments from here too. Perfect. Now to use the Flutter Riverpod, we have to use one snippets. This is optional, but it is better to speed up our development. So I'm going to write here Flutter Riverpod snippets. So we need to install this one. I have already installed it. Now after this, what we have to do, we have to wrap our my app with the provider scope. Perfect. We have to remove this home page from here and let's remove this one too. Let's write here STL. So this is the stateless widget that we already built in the previous sessions, but now because we are using the Riverpod, so stateless widget will not be needed here. We are using the stateless consumer widget. And here just write here the home page. So whenever we have to interact with the Riverpod, we have to use the consumer widget or we can use the stateful consumer widget. Okay, so this will act as a stateful widget. But for now, we're just targeting the stateless consumer widget. Let's write here the home page. So after the home page, let's make it const. And now here simply write the scaffold. So when we write the scaffold here, let's put here the body and into the body, let's make a center and let's write any text here. We can use here text style so that we can see some better improvement in our code. So you will see the DDD here. Let's wrap it with a center. Perfect. Now what we need to do, we need to go to the documentation and we can see how can we use it. Firstly, if we just go down in the provider tab and we have these type of providers: simple provider, state provider, feature provider, stream provider, state notifier provider, and change notifier provider. Okay, we will overview all these things. Firstly, let's check about the provider. So here we will simply make one provider. So you can create any other, for example, here this is the home provider. For example, home have some providers, so we can put all the providers here too by creating the new file, and we can simply write here the home provider dot. Okay, but for now it's not necessary. We are just going to targeting about the simple provider. So just write here the final. This is recommendation. This is the recommended thing to use whenever we have to use the provider, whenever we have to create the provider object. Okay, so here we will simply write here the hello provider, and then we will simply write here the provider. Okay, so this provider is a simple provider which takes one argument, need as a ref. Here simply write here, for example, I'm just putting here hi. Okay, now how we can use this provider in our application, in our UI. Firstly, you will see that in this consumer widget, in the build method, it will have an extra argument named as a widget. Okay, so widget will control all the things that comes from the provider. How we can use it? Simply write here final hello data, whatever the name you like, and now just write here use this ref, and then I can simply write here the read, and here I can write not this one, I can use this hello provider so that we can read it. Okay, perfect. Here I'm going to write the $, and I'm going to write here the hello data. We're just going to use this one. Let's save it, and now let's see the result. You will see the hi here. Okay, if I just change something, okay, no, it will not change. Why? Because simple provider only read the values. Okay, and now if I just change here something like 0, if I just save it, you will see it will not update, it will just throwing us an error. Why? Because read will only run at once, it will not reflect the changes from here. Okay, we have to restart it and we have to check it. So you will see the hi here. Okay, that's it. So we can put here the string so that we can, like, maybe the data is coming from any model. So just for example, there is a users model, so we have to put here the users. Okay, but we can simply now, for now we're just getting the example, for example integer. Now if I just save it, you will see the data is only showing us the 0. So simple provider will use whenever we have to show some value which cannot be changeable. That's it for today. See you in the next session.